This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Richard Davenport joins us now. RD, I was listening to Sam Pittman talk about recruiting a little bit yesterday, kind of what they do during the bye week. For our audience, kind of go through what that process looks like.
Well, they usually on Thursdays, part of the staff will spread out and go visit some schools and attend some games, and then the remainder of the staff on Friday will go out too and do the same. So basically a 2-day stretch. You're visiting schools. You're seeing prospects that are in the 2024 class, 2025 class. And also, you're seeing a lot of your commitments too. So, and it lets kids know that they're a priority, and that's a big deal for a lot of kids. They get pretty excited about coaches coming to their school. Now, the coaches can't interact with the kids, but they can still see them. Just can't verbally say anything, but that in itself is a big deal for kids when they see a coach and especially see them on the sidelines for their games.
Sam Pittman was talking about junior colleges a little bit too. How much has that dynamic changed with the transfer portal, and is there less recruiting JUCOs now with the portal being so prevalent? Definitely. I mean, obviously they offered a defensive lineman yesterday in junior college ranks. Started off at Texas A&M, and now he's in junior college. But the amount of kids in junior college, and junior college coaches will say it, that are being recruited by schools like Arkansas and the other Power Fives has greatly diminished because of the portal. So high school kids that are kind of right on the bubble of maybe being major college prospects, and guys in junior college, those are the two groups of kids that have been greatly hurt by the portal.
You touched on it there a minute ago, but what is the bigger priority right now, considering just how in flux things can get? Is it seeing the 23s that are set to sign in 2 months, or is it getting out and trying to be visible in front of the 24s and 25s? What's the bigger priority for not just Arkansas, but just staffs in general right now?
Yeah, I think you want to hold on to the 23s that you've got, and obviously you got to still kind of recruit them to make sure that they're ready to sign not in February, thinking a few years ago, but in December. And then obviously with Arkansas basically done with the high school ranks, and Coach Pittman did allude that there's a possibility they could add somebody, but it may be one or two at the most in the high school ranks for the 23 class, but they could possibly be done with high school kids, period, and focus on the portal. But with you basically being done with the high school kids this year, you're focused on the 24s and 25s and trying to get a head start there. And they already have been able to do that with so many of the guys committed in the 23 class.
Week 8 of the high school football season is tomorrow night, and these games are starting to become really big for playoff seeding and the importance of what they mean in the conferences and for state playoffs. Anyone surprised you? Anyone kind of jumped onto the scene this year? Maybe they're down in that 24, 25 class. Anyone has stood out to you through the first 7 weeks of high school football?
That's a good question. That is a good question. Pretty much the guys that were expected to play well have played well, and I'm not sure that they're. And of course, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm not sure that there's a guy that just is kind of come out of the the woodwork and gotten on the scene as far as with Power Fives and Division I schools. But I think most of the guys that were considered top prospects have performed very well. I know the 24s have not disappointed. Charleston Collins from
Mills, the defensive lineman, who's probably got about 20, close to 30 offers now. T.J. Lindsey from Bryant, the defensive lineman. Braylon Russell, who obviously recently decommitted from Arkansas. He's performed well for Benton, but no one off the top of my head that I can think of.
What's going on with the Archer boys down at Greenwood? I know there's a lot of social media attention gets paid to them. I know they're a couple of years out, but this is when you start focusing in on kids. It's not just the younger brother, the quarterback, Kane, but it's also his year older brother, Cash, that's kind of jumped onto the scene. What are you hearing, about that situation in South Sebastian County?
I'm not going to lie to you. I really have. I know. Obviously, I know who you're talking about, and I know that Cash has had a good season. Kane is still waiting his turn a little bit, so to speak, behind a senior, but really haven't dived into too much yet. But definitely will be probably more so maybe after the season.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush. RD, Sam was also talking about guys he might convince to come back. He was asked about Jalen Catalon and some others. Who do you think is on that list that he said ranges from about 6 to 8 dudes?
Ricky Stromberg could come back, but I tend to think that he'll probably. I mean, you don't know. You just don't know. It all depends on his grade. But I tend to think he'll probably go, but you don't know. It all depends on what feedback he gets from the NFL. So I think he's one. I think Zach Williams is another. Zach never redshirted when he came out of high school, and I think you're just starting to see him play like he's capable of playing. And I think another year would do him well. And the other guys, I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't looked at the list too much of potential guys, but I guess those are a couple of guys that off the top of my head that I can think of. I mean, Hazelwood, I don't think he's had the type season that would just jump off and make you think he's going to the NFL. But you don't know what's in the thinking of guys. But anybody that jumps off to you, I mean.
You mentioned kind of the one that hasn't been talked about as much, Richard, being Ricky Stromberg, because I knew he had that, if I remembered correctly, at the beginning of that season of eligibility. I tend to agree with you that he's probably going to jump out and go and test the NFL waters. And if he gets a good grade, we'll move on, but we'll have to wait and see. I do wonder, though, how much does this remaining 5 games that they have left on their schedule maybe impact these guys' decision when it comes to deciding to come back or not?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's huge. I mean, how they perform down the stretch is going to impact their grade. There's no doubt about it. They have a subpar rest of the season. That's going to hamper their ability to maybe get a good grade. So I think that's big, and they understand that. And I don't think it's just the absolute focal point, but they understand that good play, comes and their grade increases. So I think that is huge.
Got a basketball question for you. Ron Holland, who's a 5-star player, a lot of schools would love to have him come play little ball. What's the latest you're hearing on Mr. Holland?
I've been fortunate to talk to him 4 times in person, and talked to him on Sunday when he left. And this doesn't always indicate anything, but it could. A lot of times when guys have great visits, they're very eager to share and to talk about their experience. And when I approached Ron about talking about his visit, he was very eager to talk. Now, again, that doesn't mean anything, anything major. I went overall, but I noticed guys that when they're excited about their visits and maybe they've accomplished what they wanted, they set out to do, which he did, I think, in talking to him. when he came to Fayetteville, I think he came away thinking that this is a type atmosphere I could get used to. He felt like it was a family type atmosphere. He felt the bond between the players and the coaches, the players themselves, and I think it also helps to obviously have a former teammate, Anthony Black, on campus, and then Jordan Walsh's mom. If you've ever talked to her, she's just an absolute sweetheart, and that picture of her along with Ron and his mom floating around on social media. I think when you see a parent, when a parent sees another parent just thrilled about their kid's decision, I think that also helps, and with the parent and the kid. So I think it couldn't have gone any better. And whenever Coach Musselman and his staff get a kid on campus for 24, 48 hours, they're going to knock it out of the park. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. They just know how to connect with kids and also minimize the time that they have, maximize the time they have with the kids and the family, and let them show what Razorback basketball is all about. And I think they did an excellent job with Ron.
Richard, we saw 2 years ago Moses, Kareem, and Rona Moody were kind of the linchpins on getting those freshmen to campus. Who would you say is the family of this freshman class that has kind of helped, as you just mentioned, recruit some other guys that ended up having the second best class in the country?
Well, I have no doubt that Anthony Black's mom is very very vocal, and she's willing to give her opinion to parents, and obviously being from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and her along with the Walsh family. I mean, I think that resonates because they obviously know one another. They know they've communicated in the past. There's no doubt about it, and it's a plus when you have families that are happy about their kids' decisions. And I think if you look at them, and then I wouldn't be surprised that Nick Smith Sr. has voiced his thoughts about the situation. So you have a lot of high profile parents that can share with you what they think about the University of Arkansas, and I would tend to think, based on what I can gather, it's going to be a very positive situation.
Yeah. I think parents ask parents because they trust what another parent says.
Yep. Same with former players communicating with potential and prospective players. Richard, we'll leave it there this morning. Appreciate the football and basketball insight, and we'll talk next week prior to the Arkansas taking on Auburn.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.